Stay on tack.
I'd like to call the Glassboro Zoning Board of Adjustments regular business meeting for May 15th, 2025 to order. Terry, can you please read the opening statement?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the providing notice of adequate notice of this meeting, as required by said act, has been provided by adopting the schedule of regular monthly meetings for the year 2025, which schedule was posted on the Borough Hall Bulletin Board, mailed to the South Jersey Times, and filed with the Borough Clerk.
All rise for salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Noonan.
Here.
Mr. Alice.
Here.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Mr. Kerner.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Wyman. Here. Mr. Cossabone.
Here.
And Ms. Allison.
Here.
And Ms. Lafferty, Mr. Santor, Mr. Fiola have been excused tonight.
Okay. Mr. Alice, can you swear in our professionals, please?
Yes, Your Honor. So I'm going to ask each of you to raise your right hand. And do each of you swear affirm testimony you're about to give tonight is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes.
I do.
That's 2 yeses, Mr. Chair.
All right. Everybody has a copy of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. All right. We have the bills. Do I have a motion to pay all bills?
Motion to pay the bills.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. All right, we have any incoming or outgoing correspondence? Good. All right, anybody from the public that has any non-agenda items they want to speak on? Nope, okay. Our application is ZB 25-01, Elizabeth Quam, EMK Properties, 109 Silver Ave. We're looking at block and lot number 4 each. Zone is R2. Looking for the bulk variance to allow over 1,000 square foot driveway and additional driveway.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Duduque. I'm the owner and principal attorney of KD Law in Haddonfield, New Jersey. For purposes of your record, my last name is spelled D-I-D-U-C-H and pronounced Duduque, but please just call me Kevin. It's the easiest thing. It is my privilege this evening to present an application on behalf of my client, Elizabeth Quam, for the property at 109 Silver Avenue here in the borough, Glassboro. The applicant is seeking approval of 2 bulk variances, specifically first from your section 107-42.1G, where regarding the number of driveways, she's proposing 2 driveways on this property, whereas 1 is permitted, as well as section 107-96.D2, the maximum driveway coverage. The 2 driveways, there's 2 driveways at issue. One is 480 square feet, and the other is 1,000 square feet. So the cumulative 1,480 square feet for both driveways is in excess of your standard, which is 1,000 square feet. I do have tonight to present is Mr. Gregory Simons. He's a certified and civil engineer. He's going to be walking the board through some of the points of our application. I also have the applicant here herself, Ms. Elizabeth Quam. Mr. Alice, if I could have our professional brought up and sworn in.
Sure. Anyone who's going to testify, counsel, why don't we have them stand
Well,
up?
let's do it all at once. That's fine, too.
So would each of you raise your right hand? And do each of you swear affirm testimony you're about to give tonight is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes.
That's 2 yeses, so please take it away.
Okay. Should we qualify the expert, Mr. Alice, or are you comfortable?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
You know, Mr. Simons has been here before. And
Yes.
been before a number of boards. I mean, I'm personally known to him. We accept him as a professional engineer, and I'm sure you're going to
Wonderful.
explain what's going on.
Okay, excellent. Greg, if you could walk the board through the plan. We have an exhibit here. This is our plot plan. We'll mark that as A1 for purposes of your record.
As you all probably know, the address for the property is 109 Silver Avenue. It's known as Block 4, Lot 4 in the borough. The property was recently approved for an addition to the existing building and a 20-foot by 50-foot driveway located in the blue line here. What we're asking for tonight is a variance to allow a second driveway and to exceed the 1,000 square feet of driveway space. A 10-foot by 48-foot driveway is proposed, as indicated in the yellow. Driveways are about 16 to 18 feet apart, and they would be used for off-street parking, be safer parking, since it's not on the street. It'd be off the street, be less crowd and parking on the street and in the borough. The driveway is about 48 feet long. If you have 16-foot wide cars, 16-foot long cars, you can fit 3 cars in the driveway. The other driveway is 20 by 50. You probably fit about 6 cars in that driveway. We went through the borough engineer's review letter, and would agree to comply with all of his comments in there. Providing a signature block for the board chair, secretary, board engineer, township engineer. Provide a certified sealed existing condition survey. Provided some testimony on having the off-street parking be in a safer situation.
Okay.
Provide some testimony regarding the maximum number of parking spaces that are expected. I'll defer on the building square footage and total number of bedrooms and total number of bathrooms to the owner.
Yeah.
Current status of construction, I believe my office just did an as-built survey on the property, so construction has been completed. We would agree to provide a walkway between driveways. The plan depicts the removal of a driveway apron off-site. We'll remove that note. And we would provide all the construction details that are requested. Concrete construction details for curb, depressed curb, driveway apron, sidewalk, and split rail fence. And that is basically the extent of the board's engineer's review letter.
Okay. We are submitting this request under essentially as a C2 variance. We do believe that one obviously identifies a specific piece of property, and that as a result of the parking and the facilitation of parking off the street, it does provide for a promotion of that general health, safety, and welfare, which would be under Section A of the municipal land use law. The building itself and the driveways actually help facilitate the housing situation, which Ms. Kwan will speak to. But in essence, we're promoting the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations by further facilitating that housing. So I would ask Ms. Kwan to step forward and just provide the board with some of the testimony requested by Mr. Constaboon's letter with respect to how the property is being utilized, including the number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms, if that's okay. So Ms. Kwan, if I could have you step forward.
Quick question before she starts. You said the new driveway, those ones in yellow, is that next to the one that's kind of like hot? Obviously, that's extra small, that exhibit. The yellow is next to that?
The yellow is, that's
Yeah.
proposed, that's what we're asking for tonight, the yellow one.
Okay.
10
So-
feet wide by 48 feet long.
Okay, so I went by that property today. So is that gonna be where the grass is, like you're trying to grow grass, is covered with hay? Or is it gonna be further than that, so it's basically right next to it?
Do you mind?
We actually have a rendering of what it will look like.
Because you drove by, that's, we
So,
took,
so why don't we do this so we're all
Exhibit.
literally on the same page? Help yourself and put it up there on the stand,
okay,
and then have you mark it or have your engineer mark it A2.
A2.
okay.
And then you'll describe it for us and then tell us anything you want about it.
Yep, and I also made copies of the 2 pictures I have for everybody if you want me to pass them out as well.
Well,
Would that be
one thing at
helpful?
a time.
Yeah,
Why
let's
don't
take a
we
look.
Yeah, that's-
Find
that's-
out about that and then
Okay.
let's see what's what. So that's A2 and you're gonna tell us, what is that?
Proposed, but maybe they want already was approved.
the
No, I think
difference?
there are two up there. They have two in the rendering.
Oh, okay. Here, oh, you got them. So I wanna, this will, if we're saying this is A2, I do kinda wanna start with, we'll call this A3 first, cause this was taken today, this is what it looks like today.
Okay, so, forgive me,
Yeah,
but you put up A2.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me what it is.
okay,
Yeah.
Because
okay.
you put it up there.
Okay.
What is it?
So A2 is a picture we took earlier, and we photoshopped what
Can you see?
it would look like if that second driveway was put in. So this is the current driveway that's in there right now that was approved. This is the current sidewalk going to the front door, and then this is what was photoshopped in to give you kind of a feel for what it would look like.
All right, now, put up A3 and tell us what A3 is, and then you start wherever you wanna start.
Okay, so A3, I took a picture today, so everyone could have, an idea of what it looks like right now, in case you didn't get a chance to drive by, without the driveway, so that you could kind of see where it would go, and then, obviously with the Photoshop, it helps a little bit more.
Is that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Would you
Okay,
like
good.
me to pass out the pictures of A1 and A2, the smaller pictures, or is that unnecessary?
This is fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
This is fine,
good.
okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay.
I'd like to add one more thing. There was previously a horseshoe driveway on the property, and there was 2 curb cuts existing on the property.
I have the picture of that right here in A2. This is the, overview of what it used to look like. You have the horseshoe driveway with a little bit of space up here, and the 2 curb cuts. So we would be using where the curb cut here, and then this curb cut ended up being double wide. So that's the difference between the curb cut here. So you have the 2 curb cuts that was before we purchased the property with the horseshoe driveway.
Okay. If we could, Mr. Alice, turn it to Mr. Casabun, if you'd like to address anything with our engineer or applicant.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Casabon?
Sure, thank you. Mr. Simon said that he'd run through the whole letter and agreed to everything and addressed it. Just one follow-up on that. Is there gonna be parking in the garage for the?
Yes.
Okay, so, cause I don't think that was mentioned during the parking count. I think it was just, I think you said 3 in the driveway, and I think you said, can you just go over the total
6 in the
number of
other?
spaces again?
Do you mind if I run?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
How do you?
so,
What's the maximum including the driveway, including the garage?
so when we initially did the plans, as we do with all the houses, we try to do as much parking as possible. So we always include a garage in the new builds we have to add 2 more spaces. So we have the 2 spaces in the garage, and then 3 and 3, so a total of 8 prior to us coming before the board to add this spot.
Okay. That was all. I
11
wanted to
total?
clarify.
Yes, it would
Yeah.
hopefully be 11 total.
That was the only question I had, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Ms.
Okay.
Adamson?
Do you have our letter dated, April 10th of 2023? No.
I do not have your letter.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I can take it.
I have it.
Maybe it didn't come from the mail, but I'll dig it up from you.
Yeah, I sent it in the email.
No, I know you always do. No, you're.
You know what, and to Terry's credit, we are second counsel on this application. So we got tagged in and perhaps it was lost in transition, so, for sure. Understood,
Jeffrey
completely.
Downs?
Okay, well, I can go through this. I think it should all make sense. Did someone give you a copy?
We have a copy
Okay. So the
Mr.
first
Simons has a
comment was
copy.
just testimony of the past approvals, applications. So this was already approved, the building and the 1 driveway were already approved with the previous application, from what I understand. Number 2, there was a comment that the driveway is gonna be 10 feet And the ordinance requires 20 feet for a one and two family dwelling. So you need to ask for relief of that, item. That's number 2. Number 3 is, you're only allowed one driveway per single family dwelling. This is not a single family dwelling, am I correct in that?
It's a single family.
Okay, so you need a waiver because you're gonna have 2 driveways. The third is about the fencing. So the fencing, how high is that fencing? So you're allowed to have 48 inches and no higher in the front yards and the side yards. How high is the fencing? That, I
3
believe.
feet.
Okay, so it's 3 feet, and you're gonna put that detail on the plan.
Yep.
Number 5 is the fencing can't come closer than 5 feet to the street right away or 15 feet from the curb line, whichever is greater. Can you move the fencing back? It looks like it's going right up to the right-of-way line.
Do you, the fencing right here?
Yep, yeah, just move that back to 5 feet from the right-of-way line.
Oh, from the right of way, so you have the 2 feet in from the, just so I know, the 2 feet in from the, sidewalk and an additional 5 feet?
Well, if you look at the plan, there's the right-of-way, so you wanna move it 5 feet from where the right-of-way is.
Okay,
Or you can take, basically, you got the curb line is 10, I think it's 10 feet from the right-of-way, and then another 5 feet, so it'd be 15 feet from the curb line,
okay.
or 5
That's
feet
where that is,
right away.
that's 15.
Unless,
It is, what Kevin's,
do you have an issue with that, or is just, it is
Um,
subject to? What's the
well-
reason for it going all the way up to the property line? Is to keep people from
it's
driving
not,
off the?
it's not.
Yeah, it's 15 foot off the curb per car.
Do you wanna,
The proposed,
Does somebody
proposed
have a
one will
scale?
revise the proposed.
Why is the line going all the way up to the?
There's no post here, it stops here.
Okay, okay. Can you take the line off? There's basically, it's gonna be an administrative thing then. Just take the line.
yeah, on the plans?
Yep, it makes it,
Okay,
it looks like it's going all the way to the right of way, but it is not. Just take that off.
yeah.
So it's actually 5 feet over. Is that right, Ms. Adams? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Because
you guys
this is,
gotta
this
tell
is
me.
this is the actual picture of it,
Make
in
your
right now.
plans show a dimension.
so we'll make sure the plans match.
Yep.
Yes.
5 foot off the right of way. Make sure the
Alright.
plans have a dimension. That's what
Okay.
we're looking for.
Well, it's gonna be. There you go.
Yes,
So there's no trees on the site that are being removed?
no,
And just a clarification, so the plot plan stated E and K Properties LLC is the applicant and the owner, but the application stated the applicant and owner is Elizabeth Quam.
yes, I'm one of 2 members of E and K Properties.
Okay, understood. And that's it. The last 2 are just, submit us the plans once they get finalized in a electronic copy.
And the grand number of parking spots ultimately, when it's all factored in, is
11.
11,
11.
yeah.
I think we were able to address those issues. So if the board has any other comments or questions for the applicant or its engineer, otherwise we would conclude our testimony and turn it to you.
I got a question. The rest of the houses on there, if I remember, they only have 1 driveway, right? You'd be the only house there with 2,
Correct, as far as I can recall.
and you have permanent parking in front of that property there, right now? You
Um,
have to have a permit?
So, the tricky part, with some of my tenants is in order for someone to get an overnight, I don't know, is that what you're talking about,
I mean, you need a parking permit on that street.
Yes, to park overnight, right? So in order to get a parking permit overnight, your, registration and your driver's license has to have the actual address. And a lot of my tenants do not change that stuff to the actual address, so most of my tenants don't qualify to get a permanent overnight parking, spot. So, sometimes they'll call the cars in, which they're allowed to, but that's only a couple of times a month.
So the drive will help facilitate that issue and
It will
avoid
give
that
them
from being a
lot more
concern.
leeway.
But are you saying that the borough won't accept a copy of the lease to
Correct.
establish?
Yeah.
They won't?
That's, I mean, I don't know if they've changed that, but that's what I've known.
Cause I
A
could see
while.
people not changing their
That's the police-
driver's license.
You get that from the police department.
Yeah, 'cause and it could have changed since the last time I was aware of that, but from,
No,
Yeah.
you,
No.
it supports, in an odd way, it supports your proposition.
It does.
yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't see that coming.
Mhm.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, might I jump in with one more question
Sure.
before you open to the public? Could we hear about, just a little bit more about the total build-out of the house, the bedrooms and bathrooms, and maybe any other key features?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so this is the original house right here. This is the addition. The house was originally a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, I believe. It is now a 13-bedroom, 5 full baths and 2 half baths. When we initially went to build it, during that process, Glassboro actually changed their ordinances where there is an area close by to here where they allow more parking, but then they've also restricted much of the area to now only 5 bedrooms. So we were kind of caught on the tail end where we were still approved for our house, but we're not in that area where they now approve a lot more of the square footage to be parking. The tenants are scheduled to be moving in June 1st. There's a group of girls, they're actually my current tenants in another property that are coming over here. And when I did the leasing process, I did tell them that this would not be guaranteed, that this is the parking, and they understood that. I do have a personal office down at the end of the street where I have some wiggle room if they have guests, but certainly if I can get a little extra parking for them here, then they wouldn't have to walk back and forth, it would be on site. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is, this is slightly different than a lot of the houses on there because the frontage is a lot longer than a lot of the houses. So it does lend for, this type of layout without it looking too compact.
Okay.
Because the frontage is a lot longer than most.
Well, when you laid it out, I apologize, I just didn't
Yeah.
hear it. I heard that there was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath that was expanded to 13-bedroom,
Yeah,
5-bathroom, and how many half baths?
the 2 half baths in the
half baths.
basement.
And 2
Yeah.
half baths, okay.
Yep.
So is the house gonna be full, or you're gonna have 13, how many people will be moving in?
15 total. So there's 2 rooms that are doubled and then the rest are singled. And they're coming from another 13-bedroom house of mine, so they're moving into this one.
And at the existing house where they live, do they use 11 spaces?
So that one had an existing driveway that allows for 12.
Do they use all 12?
Yes, they do. So luckily, they already, now in that one, they actually have 18 girls living in that 13-bedroom. So they're gonna have less girls living here. And again, I made them very aware that there's a possibility it will only be 8 car parking as opposed to 11, and to make plans for that. But it is located so close to campus that hopefully most of them are walking anyway and don't all need cars. A lot of the tenants that I do have that need cars are the ones that are student teaching, that have internships, but then you have a mixture of ones that just do stuff on campus and don't really have a need to go off campus.
Any other questions?
Well, so they may park at night, they may park their cars there, but
Yeah.
for example, if the car all the way at the top has to go to the Wawa, then the
Yeah.
2 behind her have to pull out, and I don't think they wait and pull back in and get in the driveway. Then they're all out in the street in front of people's houses, and
Each,
cars.
the lease agreements, do they have, sort of rules and regulations associated with them?
Well, so partly with Silver Ave, because some of actually park on the street. So they wouldn't, unless they don't mind getting ticketed, they wouldn't be able to have more than 3 cars from this particular house parked on the road. So what they would have to do is either coordinate, which they're doing that right now at the house they live in, coordinate, okay, well, who needs to use their car the most? That's the one who goes towards the end. Who has their car which just uses it on the weekends? So that's what they've been used to doing where they're at right now, because where they're at right now, they actually just had all the street parking taken away from them entirely. So this actually would be a nice change where they have a wiggle room of 3 cars to be parked off the driveway, whether it's the 8 car or 11 car. And hopefully with the 11 car, it just gives them a little bit more wiggle room because there's 3 that could move out without having juggle instead of 2.
And not everybody that lives there is gonna have a car.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Any other questions?
What is the plan to go in between the 2 driveways? What space, like, yeah, space right there that you have your hand up, but what is
Yeah.
the?
So right now, we grass the whole area because the plan is to just have grass. There's some rough landscaping here, right against here. And then they had asked for, a walkway, a sidewalk or walkway in between those, connecting those. So that would be the plan.
So it'll be just a pedestrian walkway to avoid the grass and
Correct.
kind of
Yeah,
acknowledge people are walking.
yep.
Was there any reason why that this driveway, when the new construction started, that the driveway was still using both, curves? Like to where it would be another horseshoe?
Oh,
Was there any
another
reason why-
horseshoe?
Yeah.
So the way the horseshoe was, it was a single lane like this and then had, oh wait, right here. A single lane like here. And what we wanted to do was to, take away from some of our living space to have that the driveway to add 2 more on top of the garage. And in order to do that, once you start messing around with this, then we would have had to come in front of the board. So what we did is, unfortunately, we scrapped the nice U driveway, even though I liked it, knowing that we would have to go in front of the board and kind of delay, and who knows if the board would even approve it. So we just went forward with scrapping that, making this the 2-way and conforming to what currently is, on the guidelines for the build. So then once we heard that they kind of switched around ordinances and started to allow for more off-street parking in certain areas, that's when we thought, well, maybe they, people might have a bigger appetite for more parking. Because if we were allowed to have more, impervious coverage for parking, we probably would have pushed the house back a little bit more to add a little bit more. So we did this to conform, and then now I'm here because I'm hoping with kind of the new ordinances and a new feel that it's something that people would be a little bit more open to with having a second driveway right here to supplement the parking.
I got a question, and it just begs to be asked.
Yeah.
If you have all of your leases or your people in the house,
Yeah.
how are they gonna get out of the driveway if they're stacked one behind the other?
So typically, because it's so close to campus, most people aren't driving to school. I don't know how crazy the commuter parking lots are right now, but what started to happen over the years is, the commuter parking lots started to get very full. So the kids, even if they wanted to be lazy and go park, they would be like circling around for parking spots. So more and more of these kids are, no matter what, walking to and from class. So the majority of the kids that are living in these properties are full-time students going to class.
So you're not expecting that they'll all have a car?
No.
Correct.
Yes, correct. A lot of the kids do not have a car. Some that do have a car will have a car so that they can come and go for weekends, but not on a daily basis. And what tends to happen now between, the, Amazon and all the delivery type stuff, they spend less and less time actually going out shopping either. So there's a lot more deliveries that come in and a lot less driving. They do juggle certain amount of cars because of, like I said, a small percentage that do student teaching or have an internship. But for the most part, the majority of the kids are going to and from class, which is right there.
Anything else? Since there's no other questions, I need a motion to open to the public.
Motion open to the public?
All in favor? Opposed, so be it. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Since I don't see anybody, do I have a motion to close?
Motion to close?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. All right, prior to making a motion, I just want to go over that we have to do it in the affirmative. Okay, that we, everybody understand that?
Mr. Chair, we forgot, we haven't been here in a little while.
We haven't been here since January.
No, we've had a little, let's call it a
Vacation.
hiatus.
Yeah, we had a hiatus.
But
So we
we're back.
just want to remind everybody.
And anytime we have a motion, to the chairman's point, it is got to be framed in the affirmative. And then a yes is supportive of that, and a no would be not supportive of that, but that's, rules is rules.
Yeah. Do I have a motion on this?
I would like to make a motion for the approval of the variance for the second driveway. How is it that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well enough.
Just make sure I said it right.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Perner,
4.
Mr. Smith,
4.
Ms. Wyman, sorry. 4. Mr. Lopez,
Against?
Mr. Moonen,
Against.
we have 2.
All right, let's see. We haven't had a workshop committee.
Thank you very much, folks.
Yeah, it's on here.
Thank you.
All right, solicitors report?
I believe we have a single resolution, well, indeed we do. A single resolution, and this is really just to, memorialize R&D as the board planner. And there was a little back and forth with some of, the personnel, so we just took the simple approach. R&D as the board planner, and here we are for your consideration, Mr. Chairman.
All right, first we're gonna amend resolution R 25-04.
And that's now known as R 25-04A.
There we go. Do we have a motion?
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Mr. Ellis, do you need something for your file, or are you good if I just have the master
I'm fine if
exhibits?
you just have it.
Okay, thank you.
Have a motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
We need a roll call,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kerner?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Wayman? Yes. Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Moonen?
Sure.
And that's it, that's the only resolution, Mr. Chair, members.
All right, we don't have any old business, nothing new, nothing in the pipeline.
We do not have anything in the pipeline, so chances are we will not be having a June 19th meeting. And if we do, it will just be to memorialize the resolution. So, other than that, I don't have anything that came before the completeness committee, for the zoning board. So as of right now, we don't have anything for June.
Looks like our next meeting is June 19th. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I know we're all volunteers, and sometimes we have other things that need to get done. However, as long as everybody keeps Terry in the loop, and we know what's going on, It's been kinda quiet this year.
Not for lack of trying.
Last year, we didn't have a breather. Chick-fil-A's cutting ground soon sometime, maybe?
Yeah, they've met all their conditions from a couple of years ago when they were before the board, and I believe they've gotten building permits.
What happened with the DOT on that one?
They issued their approval. I believe it's got, the left turn lane was something that the board wanted. Their original plan was to have only one exiting lane onto
Right.
Dixie Drive, which was, they do have, the left turn lane to at least alleviate there.
Wow. Might wanna consider putting the firehouse across the street.
For,
Takes all the excitement of driving there.
You're not kidding.
yeah.
Motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Was under an hour.
You should see the one in Cherry Hill, it's an absolute disaster, it's so small.
Where in Cherry Hill?
It's